Stolen. That is the only word for what grief does to ordinary time. It reaches in and takes Sunday evenings first, because Sunday evenings used to belong to someone else, and then suddenly they just belong to you, and you do not know what to do with all that quiet. After my father died, I started going to the repair café on Delancey Street. Not because anything I owned was broken, not exactly. I brought a cracked wristwatch that had stopped working 3 years before he passed. I told myself I was being practical. I was not being practical. The repair cafe smells like solder and old wood and faintly cinnamon from the bakery 2 doors down that never fully closes. Folding tables, mismatched chairs, people hunched over toasters and lamps and things that the rest of the world would have thrown away. There is something almost sacred about a place that insists broken things are worth fixing. That is where I met Priya. She came every Sunday, same as me, and she always carried this chipped ceramic mug, deep green with a hairline crack running from the handle to the base, filled with whatever she had made at home that morning. She never bought coffee there. She brought her own, in that cracked mug, like a small act of loyalty to something fragile. Her quirk, the thing I noticed first, was that she tapped her knuckles on the table whenever she was thinking hard. Not impatiently, rhythmically, like she was sending a message in a code she had invented herself. I watched her fix a transistor radio over 3 consecutive Sundays. She did not rush it. She would work for a while, tap her knuckles, sit back, sip from the cracked mug, and then return. There was a patience in her that felt almost confrontational to me because I had none left. The wristwatch sat in my jacket pocket for weeks. I could not bring myself to hand it to anyone. My father had worn it every day for 30 years. The crystal was cracked from a fall he took the winter before he got sick. He never got it fixed. I think he liked the crack. I think it felt honest to him. One Sunday in November, rain hitting the window in long diagonal lines, the smell of wet concrete drifting in every time the door opened, I finally put the watch on the table in front of me, just looked at it. Priya was 2 seats down. She glanced over, then back at her work, then over again. She said, quietly, that it was a beautiful watch. I said my father thought so too. She did not push further. She just nodded and tapped her knuckles once, softly, like punctuation. That was the whole conversation. But something shifted in me. Some small interior door that had been jammed since the funeral opened, just slightly, enough to let air in. I want to tell you something about courage, because I think we misunderstand it. We think it looks like climbing something, or confronting someone, or making a grand declaration. But the bravest thing I ever did was walk back into that repair cafe the Sunday after I almost did not go. After I sat in my car for 11 minutes telling myself it was pointless, that nothing there would fix what was actually broken in me. I went in anyway. I ordered nothing. I sat down. I put the watch on the table. That was it. That was the whole brave thing. Over the following weeks, Priya and I built something that had no name yet. She told me about the mug, how her grandmother had made it by hand and dropped it the day before she died, and how Priya had glued it back together with gold lacquer, a Japanese technique where you repair with something precious instead of hiding the damage. The crack was still there. That was the point. I thought about my father's watch, the cracked crystal, his preference for honest things. One evening in late January, cold enough that the windows fogged from the warmth inside, I finally handed the watch to one of the repair volunteers. Priya was sitting across from me. She watched me do it. When I looked up, she was not smiling exactly, but her expression was something close to recognition, like she understood what it had cost me to let someone else touch it. She slid her cracked mug across the table toward me without a word. An offering, a small, wordless act of solidarity. I wrapped both hands around it. The ceramic was warm. The crack ran right under my thumb. Here's what I want to ask you, genuinely, not rhetorically. What broken thing have you been carrying in your pocket, telling yourself you will deal with it later, when you are ready, when it feels less heavy? Because I do not think later is when we get ready. I think we get ready by going back to the place that scares us, sitting down and putting the thing on the table. The watch runs now. The crystal is still cracked. I kept it that way. Some repairs are not about making something look new. They are about deciding the damage is part of the story, and the story is still worth telling.